Picture this. It's late at night inside a North Korean army barracks right near the border. The soldiers are dead tired, having just finished another brutal day of training. They're all sound asleep. But then, in a dark corner, one man's eyes snap open. His name is Kyunam, and he's about to risk everything. He quietly climbs out the window, then sprints across the barracks as fast as he can, like he's running the 100-meter dash. He bursts into the kitchen, pulls off the vent cover, and grabs the escape tools he's been secretly preparing for months. A compass, a stopwatch, and a map. He crawls out through the vent and makes his way to the perimeter fence. And here's the kicker. He's already dug a tunnel right next to the electrified fence. After successfully getting past the high-voltage barrier, he's faced with a huge open field. But the danger's far from over. This field is a minefield, a deadly grid of hidden explosives. Kyunam's mission tonight is to continue scouting the minefield. He pulls out his map and starts carefully feeling his way forward, marking the safe path with a wooden stick. This is the closest he's ever been to his dream, South Korea. He looks towards the other side of the border, seeing the warm lights of thousands of homes in the distance. A hopeful smile spreads across his face. But then, his stopwatch beeps. The countdown is over. He quickly retraces his steps, making it back to the barracks just before the morning inspection. He did all of that in 1 hour. You see, Kyunam is just an ordinary North Korean soldier. But he absolutely despises the oppressive atmosphere in the military. His biggest dream is to escape the barracks and start a new life in South Korea, a place he's always dreamed of. This escape plan has been years in the making. Kyunam plans to make his move in 2 days, but fate has other plans. On that day, he and his comrades head out for live-fire training. Dong Hyok, one of the other soldiers, glances at the dark clouds in the distance and mutters, "Looks like a big storm is coming." When Kyunam hears this, his heart drops. If a heavy rain comes, all the markings he made in the minefield will be washed away. His tunnel will be flooded. All his hard work will be for nothing. Just as he's starting to panic, a loud explosion echoes from the bushes behind them. Turns out a wild boar accidentally stepped on a mine. The soldiers are stoked. They see this as a free feast. They immediately start preparing a roasted pork banquet. But get this, before they can even take a bite, an officer, trying to suck up to his superiors, steals the entire pig. The soldiers can only watch as their delicious meal is taken away. To make matters worse, Kyunam is forced to serve these arrogant, greedy officers as they pig out. This blatant injustice only strengthens his resolve to leave. He's had enough. He's going to make his escape no matter what the cost. When he's about to put his plan into motion before the storm hits, his comrade, Dong Hyok, straight up accuses him of wanting to defect to South Korea. Turns out, Dong Hyok had been watching Kyunam's sneaky nighttime activities for a while. Kyunam is freaked out, big time. Trying to hide his panic, he angrily grabs Dong Hyok by the collar, shoves him against the wall, and tells him to shut his mouth. Dong Hyok swears he won't rat Kyunam out, because get this, he wants to escape with him. He tells Kyunam to forget he saw anything and to just act normal. Kyunam thought Dong Hyok would give up on the escape plan, but why was he wrong? The very next night, the alarm sirens suddenly start blaring in the barracks. Turns out, a deserter has been spotted. Kyunam immediately looks over to Dong Hyok's bed, and sure enough, it's empty. The thing he feared most has come to pass. He sneaks away from the other soldiers and goes to the kitchen, pulling off the vent cover. And what does he find? The escape tools and map he stashed there are gone. Kyunam realizes what's happening, crawls into the vent, and starts chasing after Dong Hyok. Sure enough, near the electrified fence, he finds Dong Hyok searching for the tunnel. Kyunam rushes over, trying to stop him, telling him it's not the right time to leave. But Dong Hyok has lost it. He pulls out a gun and points it at Kyunam, screaming in desperation, "The storm is coming. If we don't leave now, it'll be too late." Kyunam promises that he has a plan, that they can leave tomorrow night, and that he'll take Dong Hyok with him. Hearing that he can escape, Dong Hyok calms down a little. Just as he's about to give the map back to Kyunam, bam, a bright light shines on them. Kyunam quickly turns around and sees an officer standing there with other soldiers. Thinking fast, Kyunam steps forward and tries to explain. Dong Hyok is sleepwalking, but before he can finish the sentence, the officer slaps him hard across the face. Kyunam immediately collapses to the ground, unconscious. When he finally wakes up, he and Dong Hyok are locked in a jail cell. Just when he thinks everything is over, Dong Hyok suddenly takes all the blame, insisting that he drew the map himself and that Kyunam had nothing to do with it. The commanding officer is skeptical, but at that crucial moment, someone else arrives, and this is where things get even more complicated. This new guy is the head of security. After hearing about the deserter, he immediately hopped in his special vehicle and rushed to the barracks. After listening to the officer's report, Hyun-sang questions him. Clearly, Kyunam discovered the deserter, so why is he being punished as well? The officer explains that Kyunam and Dong Hyok are close friends, so the escape attempt couldn't have been Dong Hyok's idea alone. Hyun-sang, the head of security, hears the officer's explanation and starts laughing in this weird, unsettling way. Everyone in the room is super uncomfortable. He catches himself and quickly stops laughing. Then, he completely rejects the officer's opinion, flipping the whole situation on its head. He declares Kyunam a hero for capturing the deserter. He turns the disciplinary hearing into a celebration. Think about it. A report about a hero is way better than a report about two deserters. It's better for propaganda, and it saves face for the officers in charge. Otherwise, the higher-ups might think there are management issues in the barracks. But Hyun-sang has another, more personal reason for doing this. He and Kyunam were childhood friends. Kyunam's father used to be the driver for Hyun-sang's father. But Hyun-sang isn't helping Kyunam out of the goodness of his heart. He's new to his position and needs a reliable, trustworthy guy by his side. Plus, portraying Kyunam as a hero can help him score points with his superiors. After taking Kyunam out of the interrogation room, Hyun-sang tells him that they're headed to headquarters, where a big celebration is being held. Kyunam, as the hero, will be publicly rewarded in front of everyone. On the way, Hyun-sang tests Kyunam one more time, asking him if he really wanted to defect. Kyunam says his parents are dead, and that he has no family left at home if he were to return. Hyun-sang scoffs, "You have the desire but not the guts, just like your father." Hearing this, Kyunam realizes that Hyun-sang isn't actually trying to save him. They're from different worlds, different classes. There's no way Hyun-sang can truly understand him. At that moment, a piece of candy accidentally falls out of Hyun-sang's hand. He picks it up and, without a word, shoves it into Kyunam's mouth. Not letting up, he continues to pry into Kyunam's plans after his military service. Trying not to give anything away, Kyunam, with the candy still in his mouth, solemnly tells him that he vows to be loyal to the country until his dying breath. Hyun-sang is pleased, leaning in and whispering that Kyunam knows how to accept his fate. As they drive, Kyunam looks out the window and sees a slogan, "For the happiness and freedom of the people." What a massive irony. He knows that even if he's discharged from the military, he'll be sent to a labor farm to work his fingers to the bone. He's had enough of being oppressed and bossed around. He's determined to escape before the big storm hits. Soon, the car arrives at the army headquarters. The place is lit up with dazzling lights. A lavish party is in full swing, and a bunch of well-dressed elites are gracefully dancing. The grand hall is filled with the sounds of extravagance and decadence. Kyunam hates it. Before he knows it, it's time to go on stage. Kyunam knows what the higher-ups want to hear, so he delivers a flowery, impressive speech, giving all the credit to his superiors for their guidance and mentorship. So after that speech, Kyunam is getting applause, the higher-ups are loving it, feeling all proud of themselves. It's all fake, of course. Once the ceremony is over, Kyunam glances at the clock. He's running out of time. He's desperate to get back to the barracks. But then, Hyun-sang, wearing a smile, approaches him, offering him an olive branch, a symbol of peace. He wants Kyunam to join his team. Hearing that, Kyunam feels like he's been hit by lightning. If he keeps working for Hyun-sang, he'll never have a chance to live the life he dreams of. He'll never be able to hold his head high. Using the excuse that he's about to be discharged, he flatly refuses. He questions Hyun-sang's right to make plans for his future without his consent. Hyun-sang finds this hilarious. He fires back at Kyunam. "You think you get to decide your future?" Kyunam has no response. He can't argue with that. He doesn't reply, pretending to accept Hyun-sang's plan, but says that he wants to go back to the barracks one last time to say goodbye to his comrades. Hyun-sang seems to see right through him. He warns Kyunam not to get caught up in unrealistic dreams, that he has to learn to accept reality. That's the fate of a man like him. Then, Hyun-sang turns back to the party, urging Kyunam to take care of the paperwork. Kyunam only has one thing on his mind: escape. He waits for the right moment, and when the office is empty, he secretly steals a blank pass. Then, he cuts out his picture from a group photo, stamps it, and successfully forges a pass that's nearly impossible to tell apart from the real thing. After finishing this, he rushes into the nearby forest, planning to take a shortcut around the front gate. Suddenly, he feels like he's being watched. He turns around and sees two guards staring at him with blank expressions. Kyunam improvises. He stops and puts on a serious face, introducing himself as a newly arrived officer conducting a surprise inspection. Then, he pretends to be casual, taking out binoculars and carefully examining the layout of the headquarters, secretly planning his escape route. Soon, he arrives at the parking lot. After searching everywhere, he finds a car with the keys in the ignition. To avoid suspicion, Qunam even brings along a drunken, overweight officer from the party, placing him in the passenger seat. That way, he'll have an excuse if the guards question him. As the car slowly approaches the checkpoint, the fat officer suddenly wakes up, putting his hand on Qunam's shoulder. Luckily, he just wants some water. Qunam quickly opens a bottle of water for him, so nervous that his back is soaked in sweat. Thankfully, after drinking the water, the fat officer falls back asleep and starts snoring. Seeing the officer, the guards don't ask for the car to stop. They automatically salute, following protocol, and wave them through without asking any questions. It's been some time later when the fat officer gradually wakes up, finding himself in a desolate area on the outskirts of town. Qunam is long gone. He's speeding down the highway on the outskirts of town, rushing back to the barracks to get ready to escape. But, as usual, things are about to get even more complicated. Suddenly, 3 trucks appear ahead, blocking the road. Qunam's heart sinks again. He pretends to be calm and keeps driving. Thankfully, the 3 trucks pass him. Just as he's about to breathe a sigh of relief, his car runs out of gas at the worst possible moment. After sputtering a few times, the car grinds to a halt. Qunam watches the 3 trucks in his rearview mirror, and wouldn't you know it, they've noticed something's wrong. They start turning around and driving back towards him. He has no choice but to grit his teeth, get out of the car, and face them. When the soldiers approach, Qunam proactively pulls out his pass, hoping the leading officer will give him some gas. But this just makes the officer suspicious. Vehicles on official missions always have full tanks. Qunam claims he's new and doesn't know all the regulations. The officer immediately pulls out his phone to call headquarters to verify. The response is that there is, in fact, a new officer reporting for duty today. Seeing that the officer isn't buying it, Qunam is forced to lie, saying he's from the security department. He just received a secret mission, and due to the confidential nature of the task, he can't reveal too much. He can only tell the officer that he needs to gather evidence of Dong Hyok's defection and investigate whether Dong Hyok had any accomplices. Thanks to his cool head and smooth talking, the officer is completely convinced. He offers to take Qunam to the nearby prison where Dong Hyok is being held and also to fill up his car with gas. At the prison, he pretends he needs to investigate the case and successfully retrieves his map. Then, he goes to see Dong Hyok, who's been beaten and is covered in bruises. Qunam smiles and tells Dong Hyok, "I told you I'd take you with me tonight." Afterward, he and Dong Hyok complete the paperwork to leave the prison. But just as they're about to leave, a subordinate reports something. Turns out, when they were filling up the gas tank, they noticed that Qunam's car uses diesel fuel, not gasoline. The officer gives Qunam a suspicious look. But the officer is worried about causing another misunderstanding, so he assigns 2 subordinates to escort them, one on each side of the vehicle. On the way, the subordinates are still not convinced, and one of them calls a friend at headquarters to verify Qunam's identity. Qunam is desperate and, with a bold and righteous tone, has no other option but to mention Hyunsang and criticize the soldier on the other end of the line for being unprofessional and not even knowing about their urgent mission. The person on the phone is completely confused and initially intends to report this for verification. But at that moment, Hyunsang is playing the piano for everyone, so the soldier can only wait for him to finish his performance before reporting the incident. A few minutes later, the subordinate behind Qunam receives a text message from his friend. After reading it, he immediately demands that Qunam turn around and go back to the prison. Qunam realizes he's likely been exposed and decides to go all in, preparing to deal with the 2 subordinates. A life-or-death struggle begins inside the cramped car. Qunam tries to grab the gun from the driver's hip, and the 2 men wrestle for control. The car swerves wildly and flies off the road. Just as the driver points the gun at Qunam, suddenly a bullet flies in and blows the driver's head apart. Right there on the spot, the car is now completely out of control, like a wild horse, and crashes into a billboard on the side of the road. After a series of flips and rolls, the car finally comes to a stop. Qunam immediately crawls out of the car, making sure to pull Dong Hyok out with him. Just as he's about to grab the map lying next to the billboard, a hail of bullets rains down. He quickly ducks behind the car. Turns out Hyunsang discovered his escape plan and immediately led a team to chase after him. They were too late and trapped in the car, unable to escape. All of them are being shot. Realizing that Hyunsang's firepower is too intense, he knows that if he tries to fight back, he'll definitely be killed by the bullets. He looks at the pool of blood on the ground and gets an idea. He smears blood on his face and then collapses, pretending to be dead. The trick works. Hyunsang immediately orders a ceasefire and then leads his subordinates to collect the bodies. Seeing Hyunsang's convoy starting to move towards him, Qunam quickly gets up, grabs the map, and starts running like crazy, leading Dong Hyok with him. Hyunsang realizes he's been tricked. He loses it, becomes enraged, and continues to fire wildly, chasing after the two men in a frenzy. Hyunsang's convoy is about to catch up when Kyunam and Dong Hyok reach the edge of a cliff. Without hesitation, they both jump off the cliff, successfully getting away. When Hyunsang arrives, Kyunam and Dong Hyok have disappeared without a trace. He feels deeply humiliated and vows to capture the two deserters, no matter the cost. The time has turned to midnight, and it's starting to rain. A heavy downpour is coming. After a grueling journey, Kyunam and Dong Hyok finally reach the army barracks. They decide to proceed with the escape route that Kyunam had planned. Unfortunately, because the road is slippery due to the rain, Dong Hyok accidentally slips and falls down a slope. When he looks up, he realizes that he's fallen inside the army barracks. In front of him is a solid line of soldiers standing shoulder to shoulder. Dong Hyok stares blankly at the scene before him, immediately feeling helpless. He thinks to himself that he's definitely doomed this time. But just then, a clear whistle breaks the deathly silence. The soldiers in front of him quickly gather and start marching away in neat formation. The immediate danger is temporarily averted. To avoid being discovered, Kyunam intentionally finds a hat and a rifle, planning to blend into the ranks and then use the chaos to escape. However, what he doesn't realize is that an even bigger problem is about to arise. Hyunsang personally leads an elite team to the barracks and gathers all the soldiers for a mobilization speech. Kyunam and Dong Hyok blend into the ranks, completely afraid to lift their heads. After the mobilization speech concludes, Hyunsang gives the order, and a large-scale manhunt officially begins. He and Dong Hyok find the right opportunity to sneak into the mess hall, but just as they're about to climb onto the shelves and into the ventilation shaft, Dong Hyok, exhausted, accidentally knocks the shelves over. The loud noise attracts the attention of an officer outside. He excitedly shouts, "The traitors are right here." Then he starts banging on the door like crazy. Other soldiers hear the commotion and rush over, planning to break in together. In a desperate situation, Kyunam grabs a can full of gasoline by the door, then strikes a match and throws it. Just at that moment, the officer and soldiers break down the door and rush in, and a giant fireball explodes. In the instant of the explosion, the soldiers are knocked to the ground by the flames, screaming in pain. At the same time, Kyunam and Dong Hyok have made it through the tunnel and to the electrified fence. Following the signs he prepared in advance, Kyunam successfully finds the secret passage and gets through the fence. But when he turns around, he realizes that Dong Hyok hasn't made it through and is looking for something he dropped on the other side of the fence. It's the birthday present he planned to give his mother. Just then, Hyunsang arrives at the observation post by the fence. He orders the soldiers to turn on the searchlights and frantically search for the two men. As a beam of light sweeps across the area, Dong Hyok finds the necklace he dropped. He excitedly reaches out to pick it up, but in the next second, with nowhere to hide, the searchlight shines directly on him. The soldiers pull the trigger, and Dong Hyok collapses instantly. Kyunam could have gone on alone, but he doesn't abandon Dong Hyok. Instead, he shoots out the searchlights, then helps the injured Dong Hyok back toward the secret passage. But by now, Hyunsang has turned on the emergency backup lights. Dong Hyok, wounded and knowing that he can't continue to run, gives the necklace to Kyunam, hoping that he can give it to his mother. As he finishes speaking, a beam of light shines on them both again. Immediately, a gunshot rings out, and a stream of blood splatters on Kyunam's face. Dong Hyok is shot dead on the spot, completely lifeless. He falls forever on the road home. Kyunam takes the necklace, angrily looks towards the lights, then seizes the opportunity to quickly shoot out the emergency lights. Then, under the cover of darkness, he dives into the bushes, grabs his compass, and starts running like crazy towards freedom. On the way, he doesn't forget to shoot out the headlights on both sides. Hyunsang, unwilling to give up, continues to snipe from the high ground. But because there's no light, he can only fire blindly. Although he doesn't hit Kyunam, he does break his compass. Luckily, fortune favors the bold. Kyunam remembers that he still has a radio. He pulls out the antenna, switches to a South Korean channel, and uses the strength and clarity of the signal to determine his direction. He quickly reaches the most dangerous part of the minefield. But because the rain has washed away the markings on the ground, Kyunam throws away the map and decides to rely on his memory to take a gamble. At the same time, Hyunsang has led his men to the area. He loads a magazine into his gun and charges into the minefield, but because he's unfamiliar with the terrain, he loses several subordinates within just a few steps. But this doesn't stop his determination to capture Kyunam. On the other side of the minefield, Kyunam runs non-stop day and night. The belief that he's going home helps him to cross mountains and rivers, wade through swamps, and run all night without rest. But just as he's about to reach his dream, Just past the military fence ahead, disaster strikes again. Qunam accidentally steps on a landmine. He freezes in place, not daring to move even an inch, making matters even more hopeless. A cold gun barrel is pointed at the back of his head. It's Hyunsang, who, unwilling to give up, has followed his trail to this very spot. Qunam seizes the opportunity and grabs Hyunsang by the collar, pulling him close. He tells Hyunsang that there's a landmine under his foot and that if he doesn't let him go, they'll both die. Hyunsang looks at Qunam, thinking he's too foolish and naive, not understanding why he's so convinced that the South is a promised land. He tells Qunam it's not too late to turn back. Hyunsang claims he's been to many countries and has realized that without power or status, people can't live a heavenly life. Qunam tells Hyunsang that he's not looking for paradise. He just wants to live a life free from oppression, to be able to freely choose who he wants to be, and not repeat his father's subservient life, days lived without any dignity. Hyunsang listens, deeply moved. Tears well up in his eyes as he confesses that he once had dreams too, but then realized that he couldn't change reality, so he chose to accept it. After the two men pour out their hearts, Qunam slowly lifts his left foot, but it seems fate is playing a cruel trick on him. Perhaps because it's been so long, or perhaps because it's been soaked in rainwater, the landmine doesn't explode. The two men stare at each other for a few seconds. Hyunsang decides to attack Qunam. Without hesitation, he lunges at Qunam and grapples with him. Qunam urges Hyunsang to try starting a new life, but Hyunsang, crying, says that he doesn't understand, that there are so many things he can't decide for himself. After a tense struggle, Hyunsang is no match for Qunam and is knocked down. Qunam once again runs like crazy towards the border. Hyunsang rises from the ground, raising his hand, his heart filled with emotion. He once yearned to be a pianist, but instead became a cold-blooded killer. At that moment, Qunam reaches the border. He takes out his phone, intending to call for help, but finds that the phone is no longer working. Looking at the path not far ahead, he's overcome with emotion. But just as he's about to embrace his new life, suddenly another bullet comes from behind. It's Hyunsang, who still can't let go, and he's continued to chase after Qunam. Qunam throws caution to the wind and runs towards the passage. Even though he's hit in the thigh by a bullet, he refuses to stop. As Qunam limps slowly towards the border, Hyunsang, who refuses to give up, pulls the trigger one more time. Qunam falls to the ground, just 1 meter from the border. Luckily, he's still alive. With unwavering determination, he continues to crawl forward, inching closer and closer to the border. As his hand touches the white line, Hyunsang behind him raises his gun, preparing to finish him off completely. Perhaps his perseverance has touched the heavens, because suddenly a light appears in front of him. South Korean soldiers appear in the nick of time. They point their guns, threatening Hyunsang to leave and rescue the man who has successfully entered South Korean territory. As he leaves, Hyunsang, with tears in his eyes, seems to have made peace with himself. Maybe he was moved by Qunam's determination and left him with the words, "Go over there and enjoy your failure." Hyunsang doesn't look back and starts on his journey home. In the end, Qunam successfully arrives in South Korea, and because he received timely treatment, he survives. After recovering, he delivers Dong Hyok's necklace to his mother, fulfilling his comrade's wish, and begins his hard-won life of freedom.